Hello and meowdy YouTube. We are back with making medieval mead like a Viking. This is Tasting Through History. Original is always linked down below if you would like to go watch more videos from him. But I hope you're having a wonderful day. Before I start the video, I do have a limited time plushie campaign. So if you would like a Saphwyn plushie, make sure to go check it out. Link will be down below. It's a wonderful time. We need 50 units raised and we are almost 50% of the way there. So let's do it, but let's dive on into the video.
You ever wonder where the term honeymoon comes from?
Where does
I'm
wait,
about to tell you.
Does
See,
honeymoon
in the
come
Middle
from
Ages,
mead?
when a young couple got married, their family would give them a moon or a month's worth of honey mead.
Nah, that's where that comes from. Nah.
And then the young couple would go off, frolic, and make merry for a few weeks, and hopefully come back with a bun in the oven. So that's what we're making today.
I didn't even know that's what honeymoon means, and I love the bee drill in the background of this one.
Baby. Me.
We're not
so whether
making
you're a
a
Saxon
baby.
warrior positioned in your shield wall or a marauding Norse Viking, get ready for that sweet, sweet taste of alcoholic honey, mead. This time,
I've never had
tasting
mead.
history.
Do you guys like mead in my chat? Are you guys mead drinkers? He's making a bun in the oven, not on YouTube. No.
So a bunch of people have been asking me to make merch or merchandise.
Oh shit.
So there is some that I just got up in the...
I should say, if you know nothing about me, I know nothing about that's a lie. I know some things about the internet. I don't really know a lot of like pop culture videos on the internet. I love cooking videos though. So if you ever see me watching a lot of Tasting Through History, I apologize, but I love cooking videos.
Bar beneath this video, but you know what? I would love some ideas about what kind of stuff you guys want, what I should have made, because I'm not very good at that kind of stuff. Anyway, merch below, more to come. So today's recipe comes from the 13th century Tractus manuscript, Folio 20R.
Holy.
Catchy title. Now, usually I read the full recipe, but this recipe is rather long and rather wordy, so I'm just going to give you the hits, but I am going to put the full translation in the description if you care to read the entire thing.
Nice.
For to make mead...
let's see how long it is. No, let's see how long it is. Guys, I'm sub to him on my main channel too. I'm not on my main channel. Don't yell at me, please. I keep my niches separated. Holy. That is a pretty long recipe.
Take 1 gallon of fine honey, and to that 4 gallons of water, and heat that water till it be as lang. Then dissolve the honey in the water. Then set them over the fire and let them boil, and ever scum it as long as any filth riseth thereon.
This doesn't sound too difficult to
And then
make.
take it down off the fire and let it cool in another
Could I
vessel
do this on a
till it
campfire?
be as cold as milk when it cometh from the cow. Dregs of the finest ale or else barm, and cast it into the water and the honey, and stir all well together. And so let it stand 3 days and nights.
Oh, 3 days.
Then draw it from the dregs as clear as thou may into another vessel clean, and let it stand 1 night or 2, and then draw it into another vessel and serve it forth.
This is not sounding
So anyone
easy.
who makes mead on the regular today is probably thinking, oh, that just doesn't really sound right to me. Because mead usually ferments for weeks, not days, and then ages for months, not a couple nights.
Oh.
So this is a quick mead, and you know, probably they would have let it age longer if need be. I don't know. This mead is probably going to be not as alcoholic, very sweet.
Boo!
And
No, I'm kidding, I'm
cloudy,
kidding.
but we shall see. Now, the recipe.
This is how you used to make old school mead or mead back in the days. And listen, we had multiple years to perfect mead now in present day. So this is the OG mead.
He also gives us instructions on how to make this mead eaglin by adding various herbs such as hyssop, betony, moonwort, hart's tongue, and white horehound, just to name a few. Kind of sounds like the 3 weird sisters at the beginning of Macbeth. Woo! Now, iglin is a shortened version of the word mediglin, meaning healing mead, because in medieval recipes, usually when there were herbs added, it was medicinal, because that was the medicine that was most common.
Are you telling me if I add herbs to my beer, I can just call it medicinal beer? Is this what I'm hearing right now? This is what I'm going to start doing. That's crazy.
Available. And even today, any mead that is made with herbs and spices is called a metheglin, very similar to mediglin. There are actually dozens of terms for all different kinds of mead depending on what you're adding into it and how alcoholic or how much honey is in it. There are tons. And I'm not going to go into them all right now, but there are some great resources, books, in the video description if you really want to kind of get into mead and how to make all the different various forms. But for today, we're sticking with the traditional 3 ingredients: water. Don't use distilled water for this.
Mineral
water. Or spring water, that's the way to go.
Okay.
Honey, and ale dregs or dried ale yeast.
Pretty
so the recipe
simple.
calls for 4 gallons of water and 1 gallon of honey, but
1
that's
gallon.
a lot. So I am going to be making 1 gallon of water and a quart of honey. And really, as long as you stay with the 4-to-1 ratio, you're going to be good to go.
You're telling me you don't want 5 gallons of mead? Hello?
Now, as for the yeast, if you can get ale barm or dregs, fantastic. But if not, you can go ahead and use dry yeast. The thing is, in either case, they didn't tell you how much to use, and it's really going to depend on how active the yeast is. So you're kind of just guessing.
These are my favorite recipes where you start to guess in the recipe, where they don't tell you how much to use. They don't even tell you a pinch or whatever. They just go, you need this too. I love these recipes.
What I ended up doing was about 2 tablespoons of barm, and then I put it into a little bit of water with a drop of honey just to make sure that it was active, and it was. If you're using dried yeast, it's hard to say. Usually for a gallon you would use like a pinch, but because we're only doing this for 3 days, fermenting it for 3 days, I'd use a little bit more, maybe like 1/3 of a packet, maybe. So first, if you're worried about bacteria, you can go ahead and sterilize all of the tools that we're going to be using. Though in the 13th century, they wouldn't have really cared.
They do not care.
Though they actually...
Oh, also, if you're wondering why he tested the yeast in water and honey, it's to make sure it's active, make sure it's eating. I know you'll normally see the movement, you'll see it become bubbly and whatnot, and then you have active yeast. You have yeast that will actually work in your recipe before adding it and then wondering why your recipe isn't working out.
Kind of have a way around that, so we'll get to that. But it can't hurt to sterilize your equipment. So what you'll need is a large pot for boiling, a large container for fermenting, another container for aging for all of 2 nights, and preferably like a bottle with a small opening so you can fit a bubbler or airlock. That lets the carbonation out without other things getting in. And then you can also probably use a siphon or a funnel depending on how you plan on getting the mead from one container to the next. Siphon or funnel definitely makes things easier. I like how this is like the speed running of mead. That is what we are learning right now. How to speed run your mead. So following the recipe, we heat our water until it is lang. Now, I could not find anywhere a translation, Middle English, Old English, anything for the word lang. So if anyone knows, great. Lang? Otherwise, it really probably just means rather hot, because what you want to be doing is to dissolve the honey in there so it's not just falling to the bottom. So add the honey and give it a mix until it's dissolved. Then boil the honey and water mixture called must. Now, a lot of modern mead makers would not boil it at this point, but I think that's part of the way that they got rid of the bacteria that might have been in the water in the Middle Ages. If you boil it, it'll get rid of most of the bacteria. Also, this thing is going to have alcohol and a ton of honey in it, so there's not going to be a lot left alive no matter what, so you're probably pretty safe. Okay. As it boils, skim off any scum that forms at the top. Though you really shouldn't have that much scum unless you're using honey directly from honeycomb, because that can have dirt or pieces of wax in it, and that's really what's going to be bubbling up to the top. Once boiled, take it off the fire and pour it into the second vessel. Hopefully doing a better job than I did, because I would do the same. I too would also spill it all over the counter. Don't worry, Max. Spilled a bunch, and it got really, really sticky for like days afterward. I couldn't get it to be non-sticky. Then you gotta let that honey and water mixture cool until it is the temperature of milk when it comes out of a cow, about 98 degrees Fahrenheit or 37 degrees Celsius. If you put yeast in there before it gets about to that, it could kill the yeast. So just wait. It can take a while. You don't want that happening. But just wait. That goes with anything that you're doing cooking-wise. If you're using yeast, you don't want to kill your yeast with heat. So do remember that. Then pour in your dregs or barm or yeast. Then cover the top, not airtight. All right, we got mead. And leave it be out of direct sunlight. You could even put it like in a closet. Now by the next day, the mead should be in what I call the dawn ho phase of mead making, because you'll see tiny bubbles starting to rise to the top. Yes. Oh, sometimes I hate myself. those kinds of
Oh, your jokes are good. Your jokes are good. Oh,
jokes. But I don't care.
they're good
Makes me laugh.
jokes. They're good
Now,
jokes.
if you were leaving it for longer than 3 days, it would actually start to get clear in this beautiful golden colored mead that we know and love so well.
that we would
But
normally
in
drink.
3 days, that ain't gonna happen. So after 3 days, go ahead and transfer it, trying not to get too much of the yeast at the bottom to that next container or bottle. Then stick a bubbler in it and let it sit for a couple more nights. Now I'm actually making 2 little bottles out of this gallon, one that I'm going to try, in 2 nights, and then one that I'm going to hold on to for maybe 6 months or so. I want to see how the flavor changes. It's not going to have any more fermentation time from that first fermenting, but the aging hopefully might mellow out the flavor. I don't know. We'll see. So what inspired me to make mead today was actually because of a video game that's coming out today, or the day that this video will air, called Assassin's Creed Valhalla. Not associated with him in any way, but I'm still super excited because it's
So he's a big Assassin's Creed fan. The fact that he targeted a video to relate to the release of Assassin's Creed is amazing.
like a history-based game of my favorite time period.
Oh, that's
Saxons
exciting.
and Vikings.
I hope you enjoyed the
fighting it out.
game.
So I'm assuming that there's going to be mead in there somewhere. Though when you think of, Saxons and Vikings, yes, you think of mead. But mead actually got its start way before that.
Isn't mead ancient? Ancient?
The earliest evidence for mead making actually comes from pottery found in northern China, dating from about 7000 BC. There was residue from honey and the compounds associated with fermentation. And there are mentions of alcoholic drinks made with honey throughout Chinese literature, including the Song of Mead by Su Shi in the 11th century. In Central Europe, similar residues have been found in the pottery of the bell beaker culture, which roamed Bronze Age Europe more than 4,000 years ago.
Oh.
But the earliest written mention of mead actually comes from the ancient Indian Rig Veda, which says, "I have tasted the sweet drink of life, knowing that it inspires good thoughts and joyous expansiveness to the extreme, that all the gods and all mortals seek it together, calling it mead."
Bro, that's basically a quick summary of it. It makes you feel good. Mead good. Okay.
I praise indeed for this our mead. Now the drink that they're talking about in the Rig Veda is actually known as soma, which is a honey drink that probably also had some hallucinogens or something in it because it would give visions of the gods. So hopefully not what I'm making today. And while this is the first mention that we have of mead being associated with the gods, it is far from the last. The Minoan culture produced mead and credited it to their mother goddess Potnia, whose priestesses were named Melissa, meaning bee. The love that the Minoans had for this drink passed on to the other Greek civilizations. They also used these same Melissae as priestesses for Artemis and Demeter, and the drink eventually made its way to the Roman Empire. Columella gives us a recipe in De Re Rustica, as does Pliny the Elder in Naturalis Historia. There is a wine also made solely of honey and water. For this purpose, it is recommended that rainwater should be kept for a period of 5 years. This beverage is known as
keeping rainwater for 5 years? I would say fresh water, yeah, but 5-year-old rainwater? I don't know. I guess you're boiling it or making it hot so it'd kill anything? I don't know.
And with age acquires the flavor of wine. It is nowhere more highly esteemed than in Phrygia. Now, aren't you glad I said to use spring water rather than make you go get rainwater and wait 5 years?
Oh yeah, I'm so glad.
You're welcome.
I'm so glad.
Now, after the fall of Rome, our mead journey takes us north to Britannia, or Britain. In one Welsh poem from around 550 AD called Canu I Mead, we hear of that iconic drinking vessel for mead, the mead horn. May Maelgwn of Mona be affected with mead, and affect us from the foaming mead horns with the choicest pure liquor,
the mead
which
horn.
the bees collect and do not enjoy. Mead distilled sparkling, its praise is everywhere. So the mead in that poem is sparkling, which is interesting because based on what I've seen with our mead, ours is also going to be sparkling. In another Welsh poem, Y Gododdin, we hear the story of a battle where those fighting were rather hungover from too much mead. Men went to Catraeth at morning, their high spirits lessened their lifespan.
When that mead be hitting too hard, I guess, or something.
They drank mead, golden sweet and snaring. For a year, the minstrels
And this is why we shouldn't do mead before a war, I guess,
were merry.
or something.
Their high spirits lessened their lifespan. How Welsh. Anyway, I wanted to actually thank a Welshman, the Welsh Viking, here on YouTube, named Jim,
Hi, Viking.
for helping me with a bunch of the research and the pronunciation, as well as letting me know that the Welsh word for drunk is meddwi, which literally means meaded. I love that. Now, at about the same time that these Welshmen were lessening their lives,
You know what I love about Max, about like this whole channel right here? I love that he does his research and thoroughly does his research. Like he said, like he talked to this person to get the pronunciation of like these words. You know what I mean? And people don't normally do that. People just like do one little look, but he actually like in-depth research everything that he's doing and like the history side, the pronunciation of certain things, and I love it. I absolutely love it.
span with mead, the Irish were drinking it too just across the water on the hill of Tara, where the banquet hall was known as Cech Mithorda, the mead circling house, which I can only imagine is rather similar to Hrothgar's mead hall, Hjorut in Beowulf, where Grendel would rip apart drunken Danes.
What?
They would willingly wait on their wassailing benches, a grapple with Grendel with grimmest of edges. Then this mead hall at morning with murder was reeking. The building was bloody at breaking of daylight. The bench deals all flooded, dripping and bloodied. Now let us pause right there while I beseech thee, if you have never read Beowulf, or if you only read it under duress in high school or college, go get a copy, because it is so great, and it's super quick to read. It's not very long. I'm going to put my favorite translation in the description, but really any translation works. Don't watch the movie.
Don't watch the movie. Real. I remember, I think I read it in high school. Did I have you guys read Beowulf in my chat? I think it was high school for me. I remember like pretty enjoying it, but I guess like if you were forced to read it and then write an essay about it, you wouldn't like it too. So I see it that both ways.
It's fantastic. And whoever wrote it, we don't know, but whoever wrote it really was the greatest of poets or skalds, and must have gotten that from Odin, because Odin made good skalds. And that brings us to Norse mythology.
You saw the movie? I'm so sorry for you.
Following a war between two factions of the Norse gods, they decided to call a truce in the same way that we do today by spitting into a giant cauldron. Well, out of this godly saliva rose a creature, a man, god, not really specific, named Kvasir, and he was all-knowing. He was the most brilliant poet and had all of the knowledge that there was to be had. Even the gods would ask him questions that they needed to know. Well, when Kvasir wasn't busy, he liked to go down to Midgard, where the humans lived, and pass on some of his knowledge. How kind of him. Well, one day he came across two dwarves named Fjalar and Galar, who said, "Come on in, we'll make you some mead." And that's what they proceeded to do. They made him some mead. They split him open with knives and drained his...
I was like, why did he just get all pan-faced on me? I see, because we're doing like a ritual now. Okay.
Blood into 3 vats, then added honey to it to create mead. How dark.
Jesus.
But that mead supposedly gave some of his power if you drank it. So it was called the mead of poetry. But old Kvasir was, of course, missed by the gods, who were like, "Hey, dwarves, where's our smart guy?" And the dwarves were like, "Oh no, you know what? He came over and he was so smart."
Imagine being a dwarf gaslighting your gods back in Norseology. They're like, "I don't know, man. This really intelligent person, I don't know what happened to him. Wants the mead?" Oh my gosh.
That he choked on his own knowledge and died.
He choked on his own knowledge.
And they believed him.
Ew.
Well, these two jerk dwarves weren't done with their little killing spree, because a little while later, they killed a couple, a husband and wife, who were giants. And the giant's son was like, no. So he came over and took the dwarves and set them on an island that was about to flood, so they would die. But the dwarves were like, hey, if you don't kill us...
this is getting more crazy and crazy and crazy and crazy and crazy.
You can have this mead of poetry that we've got. And the giant was like, okay, and let them go. And now their part of the story is completely done. It's kind of weird. But the giant didn't drink the mead himself. He actually just kind of hoarded it and gave it to somebody else to protect. And when Odin, played by Anthony Hopkins, found out, he decided, I need this mead of poetry, because Odin prided himself on his love of knowledge and poetry. Anyway, after a bunch of scheming and shape-shifting, Odin was allowed to have 3 sips, one from each vat of the mead. But joke's on them, because an Odin sip is like the sip that I'm going to take if you offer me a drink of your cocktail. He drained it dry. All 3 vats.
Chat, do you have a favorite cocktail? Speaking of cocktail, of course, it's freaking Odin. What do you expect? You're giving Odin. What do you expect? What do you really... You expect him to take a tiny little sip? Nah. And he can use his privilege, being Odin, to drink whatever he wants.
In 3 little sips, or huge sips, I guess.
Yeah.
Then he turned into an eagle, and with the Steve Miller Band playing behind him, flew home to Asgard and regurgitated the mead into his own 3 containers. But he dropped a few drops down to Midgard, where the humans live. And those drops are said to be the beginning of all mediocre poetry in the world. Because to be a great poet or skald, you have to get your mead directly from Odin himself. And I'm pretty sure that whoever wrote Beowulf got their mead directly from Odin himself. Now, the mead that I'm making today, I'm not going to guess is going to make me into a great poet, but...
No, so what I'm hearing is the mead you're drinking today is directly from Odin. I don't know about you guys, that's what I'm hearing over here.
Maybe if you drink enough of it and you kind of get a little chatty, you'll think you're a great poet, because that has definitely happened to me in the past with mead. Anyway, let's give it a shot. So once 2 nights have passed, pour the mead into that final clean vessel.
I'm so excited to see the review.
Oh dear.
Did you spill it again? You spill it again?
Embarrassing. My ale horn seems to be leaking. That's not good. Nobody likes a leaky ale horn. So instead, I'm using a beer mug. That's okay. So let's go ahead and try this mead.
Yeah, let's see it.
It smells very yeasty.
Uh-oh.
Which I guess is to be expected.
Uh-oh. Is it good, though? It's okay. It's okay.
I like it.
Oh,
you know what? It's not as...
Nah, that face he gave us, I was like, he's surely just showing that it's like okay, but he said he likes it.
When I poured it, it was effervescent, but when you drink it, you don't really get it. It's pretty flat. There's definitely some alcohol in there, though I don't know how much, because I didn't, you can find out. There are ways you can test it and everything.
Oh,
I didn't do it. Definitely alcoholic, though.
I made beer once, chat. Once. It was for a fermentation course. I got to make my own dark ale. It was a long freaking process. Lots of testing. I don't think I would do it again. Maybe I would do it again, but it's a freaking lot.
And definitely super sweet. I think it would mellow.
Super
I gave
sweet?
it some more time, which I'm going to do. Obviously not fermenting, but I am going to leave it in that second bottle. Maybe 6 months? Maybe in 6 months,
okay.
we'll do another episode
That's
on...
crazy. This recipe calls for sitting for like a max of 3, maybe 4 days, and then over here Max is like, yeah, we're going to let it rest for minimum 6 months before we test this again. Was the beer that I made good? If you like dark ale, it was drinkable. I don't really like dark ale. It was okay. It didn't fail. It did succeed.
And I drink the rest of the mead, and we see how it goes. Anyways, go make yourself some mead. It's actually not that hard. Just take some time. And
I would love to.
Enjoy life and enjoy poetry. And I will see you next time.
We love life and poetry. And I love your channel. You're such a delight to watch. Thank you for being so cool. I love it here, man. I love it here. Video, comment down the cheers emoji. There's like a beer clinking beer cheers emoji. Comment down the beer cheers emoji, and I will see you guys on the flip side. Have a wonderful day. Take care. Be safe. Enjoy, and goodbye. Goodbye.